Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning, Deborah Leanne.
Are you ready to talk about a little bit of honesty, maybe?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Hello. Um, we have a big topic in front of us, and there's no way that we're going to be able to even get into any of the nuances. So I strongly suggest you to go to the Gene Keys website, or if you get their newsletter, to listen to the recording for this week, because this one is immense. What I absolutely loved, oh, first of all, what is the gene key? It is
The 59th gene key. So it's moving from the shadow of dishonesty to the citic state of transparency through intimacy.
yeah.
The gift
So
of
this,
intimacy.
yeah. So this dishonesty to intimacy thing, I find fascinating. And what I really loved is for him when Richard was saying, this is the only gene key that in this, ever since he's created these in the last 10, 15 years or whatever, they have, it's the only one that's asked to be rewritten because it's changing so quickly
Three
in
times.
our DNA, in the human DNA.
Three
And
times.
I know. I think it's fascinating. So, what I really loved about that was noticing how much we are playing with. This is an important thing. And I think even in the last 5 to 10 years, this whole thing about authenticity and our radar being so much more like young people are like, oh, that's not true. That's fake news. That's not, you know, they search out their own form of what feels right to them versus going with the traditional, if
Well,
this guy says it, then it's
I,
true.
I do believe that they're trusting their bodies more.
Way more.
And
Like our
they're
parents
thinking,
were all like, you go to the doctor tells you somebody and you do it, right? Yeah.
follow.
If the president tells you to do this, then you do it, and
It's interesting. I had a whole discussion yesterday. I had this synchronicity happen, and I was having this discussion with this gentleman who his brother worked for Navy SEALs. And he goes, it's really interesting that we just fell in line. Like he goes, when I signed up for this, we're in the United States, and he's like, you swear an oath to follow the Constitution. Did any of us really understand the Constitution? Did do we understand what we're defending? Like, or do we just blindly go, it's my duty, I just need to do it, and you're not really aware
yeah,
of,
yeah, it is. So first of all, this younger people starting to feel what feels true to them and what doesn't, and like, why did you hand us a planet that's falling apart, and why are we using plastic, still using plastic, when we've known for 40 years that it's toxic to our environment and our bodies? It's like there's a questioning, which we always expect of younger people, to be rebellious to what has been the establishment. However, it's starting to ripple out, like in the workplace and and beyond. And where I want to go with this was this huge dishonesty that we do because we don't want to feel the pain.
yeah.
Like, we're going to do everything else. We're going to continue. If I just keep going on these paths and reading these books, I'm going to be a better person. I'm just going to keep, but whatever it comes to, like, oh, I'm bumping up against that. Well, that's a locked chest stuck in the basement with a bunch of things piled on top of it. I'm not going to go there,
Right.
knowing that's where we have to go. So it's our, I originally used to read this as it was the dishonesty between people, which gets in the way of the intimacy between people. And I'm like, oh, this
Wait,
is an inner thing.
what
This
what
is
what
my dishonesty.
what kind of BS are we telling ourselves?
And then how can we truly know ourselves and have
Right,
that intimacy so that we can be the transparent, amazing light beings that we are?
right.
Right now, we're walking around with about what 1% of our wattage lit up because there's so much gunk that we don't want to look at that. And
Yeah. But
and
I think it is. It's like you don't want to look at different parts of yourself. So you're kind of compromising and you're kind of hiding parts of it and you shut down parts of your heart. And it's a defense
we don't
mechanism.
want others to see it,
Right.
like they don't have any.
It's like,
Um,
okay, I'm too messy over here. Don't see that.
well, and I want to be honest with you because you and I have had this discussion. I was
Sure.
always talked about as, oh, you always focus on the negative and the shadow and the blah blah blah. I just want to, and you're not the one that said it, somebody else did. But I want to hang out with Suzanne because she's love and light, man. She's this joy thing. And I'm like, there's a lot more to her.
Yeah. And do you realize that I've had to go through a lot of that dark night of the soul to get to this place? So it's not like, oh, I've always been, this way, but you realize then what you're choosing, and that's where the transparency comes through. How can I let love live?
Oh,
What does that feel like? And but I had to clear out a lot of gunk, you know? It's like taking stock. It we had to there was no projection there. There was like complete honesty with where I'm at, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, and cleaning out, not just physically cleaning out stuff, but mentally cleaning out stuff,
yeah,
addressing trauma or addressing things that happened in my life head on. And
yeah.
is it yucky? Yeah, sometimes it is, but
Most
it's
times, most times it's painful, and
so
we
freeing.
are not, our humanness will steer clear of anything with pain. I mean, it's like, oh, like, let me just have another glass of wine, or I'll just eat another pizza, or oh my gosh, we watched that movie Whale where he eats so himself to death. But what people do to not deal with what's going on is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm gonna
Well,
go,
when you have to, when when we have these able bodies and we are able to feel, and our feelings, especially when our bodies are turned on and we're like lit up and tuned in, and you're feeling everything, it's freaking intense, can I just say?
yeah,
So, no wonder we kind of go, oh my God, no, I can't. But that's our gift. Like the fact
that's
that,
what he said. I loved the way that was worded, where, here God goes, here's the envelope. It contains all these beautiful gifts for you. And like just by touching it, it's burning your hand. Like, I don't want to go there. So let's just give it back to you. I don't really want that. Versus if this was what I needed to open and literally play with and get burned by and deepen into, each time we transcend or we heal a part of ourselves, we open ourselves to more of who we are, right? Our heart gets a chance to shine even brighter.
right,
And how do we love just like we would love a little child who comes to us who just skinned their knee on the playground? We pick them up and hug them and clean it and put a band-aid on and kiss it, make the boo-boo better. We do all of those things for a child, but we need to hold our own child.
yeah.
And this is, John and I were just having a discussion about, it's the maturity where the child goes, I hate that playground. I don't like it because it hurt my knee. Like they want to blame.
Right. It's outside.
Yeah, it's my friend. They pushed me down. And I'm like, you were both running and pushing, and that has nothing to do with your skin knee. Let's talk about
So
this making your knee better.
one of I really do appreciate, and I think about this with my mom. I was given a great tool, and I didn't really think about this until my adulthood, but really teaching myself how to self-soothe. And I don't know that a lot of us have those tools, but it
What do
is,
you do? I want to hear.
well, it's time on my own. Like for instance, I always wanted to go out and play and be around a lot of people, and she could tell when I needed to be by myself, not distract myself with a bunch of other things.
Wise mama.
I know. So she goes, why don't you just have a little quiet time? And I didn't like being by myself because then you have to sit with it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And 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 what did you do in those moments of being by yourself that helped
Interest,
you to calm down?
interestingly enough, it was coloring. It was like being again playing with color, playing just creating something, being alone with my thoughts and not having other energy or influences around me and just listening.
Yeah.
So or and music. And I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? I love color and I love music. And those are the two things that help me connect back to myself. And that's my self soothing technique.
I love that. And I have not done much in the coloring world. Boy, I used to be such a prolific crayon user. And the other thing I did a lot of is we lived by Lake Erie, so I spent a lot of time at the beach. So it was a lot of playing tactile play, like in the
Hmm.
sand,
Right,
in
right.
the dirt, because grandma was always she was my main caretaker as a small child. She was always in the garden. And
Yeah.
so I would go out and make mud pies and dig holes, and then she would give me a plant to put in. I mean, it was very, so why do you think gardening is my,
Yeah. It's your
my
love
thing?
language.
It is like I have to have dirty fingernails or I'm not, I'm really not like using my, I don't know, my creativity well. That and cooking. So I have a question for you around what does the intimacy self intimacy feel like, look like to you?
To me, it feels like being receptive and an open vessel for love or spirit to come through. Um, like being open to the new.
Hmm.
Um,
Trusting, maybe
so
trusting.
it's also about being open-hearted because many times when you're feeling challenged, you all you want to do is kind of like isolate and kind of shut your heart down, and so your energy just kind of like contracts.
Right.
And so when I feel intimacy, I feel that oneness, and
Hmm.
it doesn't feel any separate. I don't feel separateness in
Yeah,
any kind
like
of
that
way.
interconnectedness, like I am everything and everything
Right.
is me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the intimacy that I feel.
So my question, and this is something that I'm learning because my purpose is universal love with the shadow of constriction, right? And you did that so well when you did that, is
Mm.
how, when I'm with another, how do I stay true and intimate to me and open hearted when I'm feeling uh less than that? Like I'm feeling the fear. I can feel the uh whatever's going on in the dynamics of that relationship is starting to like make me want to go, you know, I,
I
and
think
my thing every day is how do I stay open hearted no matter what? No matter what, staying open hearted and being true
so.
to me. So
I was
I'm
going to say, so how does it work for you? I mean, what techniques? I mean, the fact that you even have an awareness about that is like step one. Like you recognize the pattern of, oh my gosh, when I get like this is a trigger. So
Mhm.
I think part of it is, and the beauty of it is how can we remain open when we're triggered?
Exactly. And
Right.
so so when I'm working with clients, one of the things I do is we start off with, I said, no matter where we're going to go, we're going to start off getting present and centered and in our bodies, right? So that
Right.
we can open to the whatever evolves in our conversation, which typically allows more insight to come through. It also gives us the grace. There's something uncomfortable that needs to be dealt with. And there's when it's so much easier to guide another. So when it's me, I'm going, okay, how would I advise somebody? So it's like breathe, stay in. And then one of the things I like to do is to remember that I'm way more than just those feelings of fear and anxiety, that
Right,
I
right,
can
right.
feel the air on my skin. I can taste the coffee in my mouth.
So you're staying present to it. You're
I'm
staying
trying to
present.
stay in my body versus because my escape route was always to leave my body,
Right, right.
literally. Talk about abandonment. Oh, nobody abandoned me. I learned to leave, jump ship really
You're
fast.
like, see ya.
Yeah. And and in the reactive tendency, it's that fear of, that's the fear of what is it? It's flight, fight, or freeze. Man,
Right,
you
right.
know, I was a flight. So anyway, so I keep going back in and down, back in and down. Feel your core, feel your connection to the earth, feel your connection to the divine. And then I've got a little bit more strength. It's like I feel like I've plugged in my power cord to get charged.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't I'm it has been a work in process for decades. And I think that I'm the practice, the ongoing practice, and the awareness of when I'm stepping out
Yeah.
to
So,
say without judgment.
right,
And
right. No.
the other word that came up was self compassion.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
with self compassion say, oh
Uh,
man, that's scary. Come on back in. I'm here. I'll hold you. You're held. You're protected. You're safe. You know that.
right.
So it's a lot of hand on heart. Does that make sense? Long
No,
story.
it totally does. And what I love about this particular gene key one, or just the essence of this is that this, when it's at its zenith, it has the ability to look on the world without any judgment. It is fully transparent. It holds its space open hearted, um, where they aren't triggered. They recognize, they see, but that they recognize that it has no barbs. It's kind of like, I think we talked about it the other day or a couple weeks ago, where it's like, choo choo choo, like a superhero. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah,
It's
everything's
like,
like
okay,
we have a force field around us, except for it's not really such a force field keeping things out.
no, it's
It's
you
like
radiating out.
yes, it's like a light aura that
Right.
is soft. And he
And
used the word membrane, which I
yeah,
found
and
fascinating. Yeah,
it's
that
it
fear
pierces.
membrane falls away,
Right.
which
And
allows us to be full and whole and the light that we are. So
and
that's
what's beautiful is that this particular, it's embodied, its presence embodied, um, it pierces the aura of other people and opens them up.
yeah.
It's
And
really beautiful.
it's a ripple effect that I was just describing this to John. I said, and each time, each interaction that allows us to open and stay open and be open and act open and it's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
it and then each person that we come in contact with is being affected by that, and then they get that shot of oxytocin, which then they're passing. So it's that actually creates that chemical of oxytocin, which is the connection hormone.
Yeah, and this
So
is actually a good point. This is all connected to the ring of union. And
yes.
so it's related to virtue,
Hmm.
forgiveness, devotion, and transparency. So those four components help us have these interrelationships.
That's so beautiful. I'm so glad you brought that up because I totally forgot that. So anyway, this is a very deep and vast conversation, and I love the comments that we have gotten from the various places that we've put these up, and so we welcome them again. Um, and in some days, we'll figure out how to set a time and a date and invite you to just come on live and ask us questions, because that would be my dream, is to do this in service in the moment, right? But for now, we'll take your written comments, and feel free to post any question or comment on wherever you see this posted.
Yeah.
So
Did you? I'm sensing a card. Do you feel into one, two, or three? Three. Okay. This is from the Infinite Self deck
oh, I
from
love that one.
Patricia Wild Hopkins, who is one of our lovely sisters, and
I put one of her perfumes on this morning too, the Metamorphics.
yeah. And let's see what can support us to remain open-hearted and embodied in this present.
In intimacy. Yes, embodying intimacy. Ooh, I can feel something there.
Ooh, this isn't very interesting. It's all pink, and this is all about serendipity.
Ah,
And so I want to bring this up because I'll tell this quick story, but it says serendipity is all about good fortune. Your self-love and self-discipline is being rewarded by the universe. Be playful today. Allow magic to envelop you in the soft bubble of pink light, soft pink light that will attract serendipitous events and synchronicities to you. With gratitude, accept this gift of loving grace and expansion.
ooh, accepted. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Um, yeah, accept the God winks. I asked for a God.
God winks. I haven't used that term in a long
Yeah, I
time.
know.
Pretty.
I said, I really could use some magic today. I really want to just hear where I need to go, be blessed, be experiencing this intimacy without any expectation. Just show me. So I heard yesterday, go to a coffee shop. So I was like, okay. And they just said, be patient. So I opened up my book and I was just reading. And then all of a sudden, the gentleman next to me um, saw my book and then just started asking me questions. It's like time stopped and we had this intimate moment to talk about uh, everything. It was like sitting with God and getting the chance to have this moment where literally time stopped and we were like talking about religion, talking about money, talking about um, food and health. It was really pretty magical. So I just, there, it, it's synchronicity. There is no coincidence. It's just being open to those exchanges. And that's the true intimacy of keeping our heart open and
And
allowing.
that, which means we're receptive. And that goes back to my whole thing about closing down versus allowing and accepting and receiving, which are
Right.
three different dimensions of the same quality. But that way it allows that to come in and through. Yeah,
Yes.
the receiving. It's a very active thing. But people think, oh, receiving it's just like sitting and doing nothing. I'm like, no, you need to be open and out, and you need to show up wherever I'm being asked to be, and all of that. But receiving the nudges and the God winks and all the beauty of that. Oh, I love that. So I appreciate you, and I think that the more that I grow in my self compassion and self awareness and self intimacy allows me to be more available in my loving relationships with others. So thank you for being part of my life.
Thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate you.
all right. Take good care, everyone.
Take care.